and then they want to come home and let their husband lead. That, again, is their choice. That is not them being submissive.
Right.
That is them choosing
about. It's about
that's what they
decision.
want. It's a difference.
Right.
That's right. So the actual definition of submit is to accept or yield to a superior force or to the authority or will of another person. So I'm going to say right here that I, Jeannie Mai, going into my marriage, I want to submit to my man.
I do also want to add, I do want to add in there that she said a part of the reason is because of her parents' relationship. She said her mom had a very strong force in her parents' relationship, and she took over a lot of the decisions in the household to the point that her dad, unless it was going to be a fight, he was like, you know what, go ahead. So she wasn't submissive at all, the mom.
Right, so that made her think differently. Okay, I get that.
Yeah, because they divorced.
I get that. 9 minutes before the top of the hour on the Morning Hustle Show, Head Crack, Angie Ange, L'Oreal, Billy Sorrells, and we're talking about this because L'Oreal ran us back in the lowdown and the idea of submitting, and I was saying that I think submitting is like it's a matter of respect, and it's in a relationship. I think men and women both submit to each other. I think in all relationships, an effective relationship, there's submission on both sides.
Right.
And L'Oreal, what about you?
I definitely feel like being submissive to a certain point in a relationship is okay as long as it's a person to be submissive to. Like, I feel like a big part of the problem is you can't find a man to be submissive to, one that you don't absolutely trust with decisions for your life. And I feel like if it was more, like, if you were more sure with the man, then it would be a little easier to submit.
I think relationships got to be viewed as teams. Like, you know what you're good at. If you're a guy and you bad with money, guess what you shouldn't be doing in your house? Controlling the money. You know what I mean?
But some men don't care. They just want to be in control.
And those men need to bow down to their wives in that aspect. You know what I mean? Like, in order to make relationships work, it has to be a partnership, and y'all both got to be on the same page
100%.
to how to make the relationship and the house run. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it gets out of control when it becomes about control. And when I'm listening to Jeannie, I'm listening to someone who she had a certain experience and she doesn't want that in her personal relationship. That's cool. But it also seems like you said, L'Oreal, she fully trusts Jeezy. And so if that's the case and she made that choice, absolutely. As long as it's I think as long as it's healthy, okay. Like,
and
as long
I get
as it doesn't become controlling.
He seems like a smart businessman. That's somebody that, has been successful in this industry for many years. But the thought becomes like when you're the breadwinner in a situation and he wants you to be submissive to the situation, run things, and he doesn't have control, it's like, that's a little difficult for me to be like, okay, because you're the man. Like, no. It has to be like I said, someone that I would trust.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But also, too, in relationships, you do have to let a man be a man sometimes and make certain decisions because, and I'm sure y'all have seen this in the workplace. A dude will probably, people go home and they get abused at home and then they come back to work and take it out on people at work because that's the only place that they have any level of power and control. So it has to be a yin and yang and give and take situation in your relationship because it can spill outside of the house and hit the streets in a major way.
Don't be submissive to no bum. I wonder what the callers have to say.
866 Hustle 8. Good morning.
This is Althea from Washington, D.C. I agree with Jeannie Mai. I think that there's nothing wrong with submitting to a man who can lead. A great lead will give me an easy follow. No problems at all.
Sarita calling from Denton, and yes, I believe that women are supposed to be submissive to their husbands. That is what Christian background follows.
My name is Rebecca, and I'm calling from Cleveland, Ohio, and I don't like to use the word submit. I like to say lead. I think, like she stated before, who knows more about a subject, that should be the person who leads in that subject. So if you know more, then you lead. If he knows more than he leads.
All right, Shonda from Detroit, and I don't mind being submissive to my husband at all because I feel like this, and I'm the breadwinner, and I'm still submissive to my husband because it's just out of respect that he's the man. He takes care of home, and he takes care of his family, and that's why you should be submissive to your husband and vice versa because the wife is the queen of the castle, and she holds it down and take care of the kids and, and the family as well.
Brittany calling from Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm submissive to my husband 100%. And thankfully, my godmother told me a long time ago, the head is the man and the neck is the woman. And I ain't never heard of a head doing anything without a neck, because she's going to turn him in the right way and tell him which way to go. Think about it. What head is ever going to survive without a neck? So it's a team effort. You got to work together, because I need him, he needs me. I'm going to point him in the right direction, and he's going to lead us where we got to go.
We are the Morning Hustle.